Hello and welcome to Beach View, our podcast where we talk about all kinds of different topics. Today we have a special guest with us, Kelly. Hi, Kelly.
Hi.
Thanks for joining us today.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, today we're talking about how we listen to music in the past and present. And we got a range of age groups here to discuss that because it's changed over the years.
Yes, it has.
Are you trying to say I'm old?
I think, well, he always calls me old, so. So if I'm old, you're ancient. I'm sorry. I never feel older than when I'm doing this podcast, so. But no, I think it's interesting. We have a few different generations represented here. So I think we'll get some, definitely interesting takes on how we listen to music.
I guess I'll start. I still like listening to the radio, which I get made fun of all the time about. But that's kind of where I find new music is from the radio.
I listen to the radio. I definitely listen to, okay, it's funny because a couple of years ago, I got this Nielsen study in the mail. Do you guys ever get those?
Yes.
Yeah, so you could, fill out a little survey and, they'll send you $5 or something. And I always do them because when I was at school, I had to work at this survey, phone calling thing at school as part of a class. So I always do surveys. Anyway, this survey was about how much you listen to the radio in your car over a week span. And when I was filling it out, I never listened to the radio, ever. So it'd be 5 minutes here or 2 minutes here. And ever since I did that survey, I started listening to the radio, and that's all I listen to in my car now. Isn't that weird? It was it pointed out, that I should listen.
Aware. Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you, Nielsen.
What did you listen to back then? Because that's been a while now.
So yeah, that was probably, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago. I was listening to CDs in my car because I never wanted to plug my phone in, find music, and then drive when I'm going to work and coming from work because there was just, not enough time really to do it. And sometimes I would be on my phone, I call my husband. That's the only time I would talk to him, during the day. So I never plugged my phone in. So I would just listen to CDs, and I had all these old CDs from late 90s, early 2000s. So they were always just in my CD player. I guess, do cars even have CD players anymore? I don't even know. But my car's 12 years old.
Brenna's does.
Oh, see?
Yeah, ours do. Ours do.
Okay. Well, yeah, I have an old car, so I was maybe that's outdated. But that's what I used to listen to, and now I hardly ever listen to CDs. I just listen to the radio in my car. What about y'all?
Well, starting when I was in high school and college, I had a cassette player in the car. Which was a pain in the butt to change out all the time. And you would make mixtapes.
Yes.
So you didn't have to listen to the same artist. But, I mean, you just space-wise, keeping all the cassettes and keeping them where you could get to them. It was just easier to listen to the radio.
Right. That's true.
Now, when CDs came out, I probably did listen to the CDs for a while. Especially when they came out where you could have more than one CD in your...
Yes. Yes, Bryce doesn't remember the days when you can only listen to one CD at a time.
Yep.
I remember cassettes, though, and I remember, with our friends, having your little stereo, outside on the porch, trying to catch the song, and, you hated when the DJ would talk over the song, because then that's what was recorded, So, no, we definitely used to make mixed cassette tapes all the time, which is really funny to think about now.
My mom's car that I drove when I first started driving before I had a car had an 8-track player in it, and we had an adapter that you could put in the 8-track player and it would play a cassette.
That's so fancy.
It was fancy.
I want to hear from Bryce. What did you listen to when you first started driving?
Oh, driving? Radio, I guess?
Yeah.
You don't now, though, because you have to have an aux cord.
Right, yeah. If it was a long drive, I'd usually a CD or just pull something up on my phone and, streaming online, listen like that. But yeah, I guess a mix of those.
Interesting. Yeah. So you were in the CD era as well.
Yeah, well, CDs are still kind of relevant.
Well, people make fun of my CDs, so...
Yeah, I guess. You can still get them pretty easily, though. Like, they're still in Walmarts and whatnot, I think.
Yeah.
How do you find new music, though? Like, where do you discover...
The internet.
So, yeah, I was going to say, I find new music mostly on Spotify. So, like, I'll listen to, I think of an artist that I like, and I'm like, for instance, like Post Malone, I'll be like, play Post Malone radio, like on Alexa or on Spotify on my phone, but sometimes Alexa will pull up Pandora, but I prefer Spotify. But that's how I hear new music. If I hear something new and I like it, I'll look at who it is, and then I'll try to start listening to more of that person or band.
The only thing I do with Spotify is my playlist.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, I use a different app for my playlist. I use Treble.
Yeah.
And
what's the benefit?
So I can download the songs and listen to them when I'm flying. Which is, my whole purpose of doing that was because I'm afraid of flying. So I have to have my noise canceling headphones so I don't hear all the scary plane noises. And so I keep a playlist on there that's kind of chill. That kind of calms me.
Pay for that?
No. So there's like ads and stuff, but not when you're listening to your downloaded songs, but every once in a while, like an ad will pop up like on the screen,
Yeah.
that you have to look at. But I discovered that I made my intern at work research how to do it. Like, what can I use to download the actual songs and not stream, So, without paying for it, because I don't want to pay for music. So,
Piracy.
Bryce, how do you do it? We say the internet.
Oh, yeah. Hush.
No, it's for my own personal use. I'm not making any money off of it. No, or am I?
You're not,
I don't know.
But you're denying the artist from making money.
That's their problem. I mean, really? No.
No. Interestingly enough, I do have a TikTok, and I do find new music on TikTok. I rediscover old music.
Yes, that is very true, because I don't go on TikTok a lot, but Instagram is like always has TikTok videos on it as well. So that is true. That is a way that I discover some new people.
Which I think the younger generation, a lot of what they're hearing comes from TikTok.
I would agree with that. So Bryce, you said you get your music, or you hear new music from the internet. Like what kind of interwebs are you looking at?
Yeah, just different sources, like stuff like Twitter or Reddit, typical like social media stuff. And then I use Bandcamp occasionally. Do you know what that is?
No.
I've heard of it. I've never used it.
So Bandcamp's a platform. It has a lot of indie artists that upload to it, and then you can stream from it, but you can also like purchase it. And like the reason people use it is because it's like good for finding independent artists, and also because they get a lot more money because you can like purchase it outright compared to like streaming, which is they don't get as near as much money from.
So when you say purchase it, like how much are you, like what are you paying for?
Well, they allow free streaming, so you don't have to like buy. You can try before you buy, but it depends on the artist and the album or single or whatever. A lot of them use a pay what you want model, so it can be anywhere from like $1 to like $20 if you really liked it.
Oh,
okay.
I'm gonna have to try that. Look that up.
I like the pay what you want. I'd be like 50
I do
cents.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's nice.
What about YouTube? Do you ever?
Oh right,
look
yeah,
at stuff
YouTube.
on YouTube.
I use YouTube to listen to a lot of stuff. I don't usually use it to like find new stuff.
Yeah, I would say that. Like when I want to listen to a specific song, or even sometimes like an album, I'll just go look it up on YouTube, and it's like an easier way to play it, I guess. I don't know.
I use YouTube to do a playlist like in the library.
Oh, that's
like
cool.
If I want, like a classical playlist or just something.
Yeah.
The Bridgerton playlist is really good because it takes current songs and it does it in
that's true.
Classical.
That's really cool. I like when I was watching it, trying to figure out what songs they were.
Yeah.
That's cool. So, okay, I was telling Bryce on a previous podcast about how I miss like the MTV days.
Yes.
And he was like, no, he didn't get the allure. So I'm sure somebody of your age would, since
I was in middle school when we got cable with MTV on it. MTV, awesome. I think, had been out about a year at that point. I had seen it, at friends' house and stuff. Cable hadn't gotten to our neighborhood yet.
That's so cool.
But it completely changed. That's where you found new music.
See, that's what I was telling him. And I was telling him that, I miss those days because you just don't have that anymore,
No, you don't have. But it completely changed music because the visual and videos and what you look like became so much more important than before then. Just like cameras get to politics.
Yeah.
And I think you've seen that even now because, some of the artists aren't necessarily the best singers, but they're attractive or have something unique visually.
They have a look. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. Yeah, and the visual aspect of the videos that went along with the music. Yeah.
The first videos were cheaply done. A lot of them were like concert clips and stuff put together. And they got more and more elaborate to the point that they were costing millions of dollars to produce. I think the Guns N' Roses November Rain, I forget how much that was, but that was like a designer wedding dress and it was unreal.
I want to go back and watch that again.
It's a cool video. Take On Me video was one of the ones that probably still stands out. It was just the way it was done and the technology used was completely unique for that time.
Yeah. I mean, there are definitely like some videos that I distinctly remember that were like real crazy at the time, that they came out, and it was a whole like, I don't know if you want to say like a subculture, but it was a whole other aspect of music. And anyway, that's why I know, Bryce, you said MTV is still around, but it's not.
They show a lot of movies and stuff now, don't they?
Well, and I don't get it because I don't pay for, I guess, is it on DirecTV or something like that now?
Is it not on Hulu?
It's not on streaming.
I don't know. I mean, we had cable up until like January, and
yeah,
I never watched it. Occasionally, there was a movie they were showing that I would watch, but besides that, I never watched it.
Oh yeah, they stopped.
So it
playing
was on
music,
cable, though,
right?
Yes.
It was.
I don't know.
Back,
do they play
it?
music anymore?
I thought they had stopped like years back. Like,
I mean, I know it was a while back. Yeah. But I didn't know if they came back around because I think there's like multiple MTV channels now. Like you can get on, something or other. The only reason I know this is because during Hurricane Ida, I would go next door to my neighbor's house because he had his generator hooked up before we got a generator. And he's like, "Oh, you like MTV, don't you?" And we were watching Cribs, which I thought was really funny because I used to watch that back in the day. Yeah,
I remember when that first came out, everybody watched it.
Yeah, and his wife was like, "Why are you watching it? Nobody wants to watch this." And he's like, "Yeah, Jen does." So, I mean, it was fun. I was like, "Yeah."
He wanted to watch it. That was a good excuse.
Exactly. I'm like, I love this stuff. I don't know why. I mean, it's not that interesting, but it's just like old MTV days,
And the VJs were huge. Like they were celebrities.
Yes. They really were. Even the hosts to some of the other shows were like huge celebrities. And I don't know, it was just fun.
It was a fun era.
Yeah. See, Bryce? I'm not the only one.
Prince came on in the car with Bree the other day, and I was talking about how when he would come on MTV, we would all run downstairs and scream in front of the TV.
Prince.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah, like I said, when last time we talked about this, I just have no context for it because, like, to me, everything that you could, like, MTV could offer, you can just get off the internet on demand. That like it
but we didn't,
I don't have the
we didn't have that ability,
right? Yeah.
If we wanted to get something on demand, we had to record it with a VHS recorder or Beta, whatever one you had.
Yeah. And it's fun, and it's kind of like I was trying to explain before, like you're bored, it's a summer day, you're home from school, and you're a kid and you're just flipping channels and you just like put it on MTV. It's like in a different way. It's not like you would like go look up a specific artist or anything like that. The way I do it now is totally different to the way I got music back then, So that was kind of the allure of it, yeah.
You would play it in the background too when you were, doing whatever you're doing around the house, and if it was something an artist you like, you'd stop and watch. And
exactly. Bryce doesn't know anything about that, but it was fun.
You can do that now. Spotify has like generated playlists, and YouTube has an autoplay function that you can just. I don't know if they work as effectively as MTV did because they're usually algorithmic whatevers, but they exist.
Yeah, but I think now though it's not as visual now as it was back then because it was so new. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like you weren't used to seeing your artists, all of a sudden you could see them, and now it's just taken for granted. So I mean, with Alexas and Google, my Alexa's going to go off. And Google Play, and I think you just stream music that way when you're working around the house.
Right. Yeah, that's a little bit different than like having the video on there, seeing all the band members. I mean, now we have, all the social media, Instagram, all that you can see the artist. So yeah, sometimes I even go look up an artist because I just want to see what they look like. Whereas on MTV, you could see all the band members, and I don't know. I think the visual aspect of it was much more, I think.
Before that, and before the internet, it being common in the homes, if you either saw them on the news, on some type of news show, or you saw them on their albums. Like otherwise you didn't know what the artist looked like.
Yeah. So it was definitely, I don't know, a cool part. But I like how it kind of segued into now, where, we're all saying, well, we don't watch MTV anymore. We get it on YouTube or TikTok or whatever, so. And
videos for the songs aren't as big, nor, here and there for the bigger artists, but.
Yeah. Yeah. I still like watching videos though. Like I love it.
If it's a good video, I like it. If it's just they're sitting there playing, yeah.
Yeah, nobody cares.
Yeah.
All right, so beyond like getting new music, if you wanted to buy something, like, in the past, what was your medium of choice? You wanted to buy an album or a single?
I never bought singles, ever. I just thought that was, it took too much time to flip in and out, whether it was because I still bought records as a kid and had a record player up until college probably. But I never bought singles because I thought it was just to have to sit there and flip and another record on there.
Such a waste.
Another cassette took too much time to me. Which is probably why I don't like listening to whole albums. That drives Bryce nuts. But I can't stand now to listen to the same sound all the way through.
Yeah.
Because that's what you did when I was younger.
Yeah. Maybe that's why. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
I would listen to... Or I would buy, first it was cassettes, but that was when I was in like maybe middle school. So I wasn't buying a whole lot of music, It wasn't cheap. No, it wasn't cheap. I remember one of my friends had like an Ace of Base, cassette, like when we were in probably like 5th grade or something, So we would, just kind of steal from our older siblings or, whatever. But I never really bought cassettes myself. The first album I bought was in high school, and it was a CD. And so I've bought CDs. I think like one of my birthdays, probably like 8 years ago now, Travis, my husband, had bought me like 3 CDs for like new albums that had come out that he knew I would like. And that was like the last time I ever got, CDs. So I kind of miss those days where, you get excited, you go buy an album, But I never was one to spend money on music, really, which is kind of funny because I do feel like music is a big part of my life. I listen to it every day. You know what I mean? But I never wanted to spend money on it.
Spend money on books. That's interesting.
Exactly. Yeah, I'll spend money on books, but not, and I'm still cheap with books. Like I download from the library, the digital copies, or I get like the bargain books, but I never want to spend money on it. So I don't buy anything anymore. But what do you buy CDs, Bryce?
I used to.
Or did you?
Even
records.
Well into the internet era, I would buy CDs like in high school, just because I thought like having physical media was cool at the time, and like you could still find them. Like, I mean, obviously, you know, online shopping, it's really easy to get them, but like you could still go into like a lot of stores would still have pretty big CD sections, so you could still go in there.
Yeah.
And, you know, just browse, and if you see something you like, pick it up.
That was the fun part. We had... Yeah.
I stopped doing that, though, because it was expensive and more difficult than just pulling something up on YouTube or Spotify.
But exactly. Do you buy music now?
No, I use YouTube and Spotify.
Yeah, I don't buy music at all now. In fact, before I was downloading songs on Treble, I was doing the, like, old way where you would take the YouTube link and generate it. Use a YouTube to MP3 generator and download the music that way. It was real kind of cumbersome, but it brought me back to my LimeWire, BearShare, and Napster days. So I guess I've always illegally downloaded music, in other words.
So now you do it through Treble.
Yeah, now I do it through Treble, which supposedly is, lawful. I don't know. I don't know how. But yeah, it's so easy to do. So that's really cool. And then I make like playlists from them. But I'm obsessed with like making my playlist bigger because I only have like 20 songs on my chill playlist for the plane. And, I was just on like a 9-hour plane ride a few weeks ago. And so like you're hearing the same 20 songs. So I'm like, I need more, but I want to keep the same theme. So I need to explore new music.
So what are some songs on there?
So I have like this playlist is called Chill Low Key. Okay, so it's like a good vibe. It's got a good beat to it, but it's not going to hype you up. Like that's the goal. So some songs I have Slower by Tate McRae. I have Love by Kendrick Lamar. Self-Care, Mac Miller.
I don't know any of these songs.
The Hills, The Weeknd. Huh?
I said I don't know any of these songs.
Like Khalid, On the Way. No, The Weeknd.
Yes.
Okay. Young, Dumb, and Broke.
Oh, yeah, I like that.
Yeah. So songs like that. I have some Kanye West. Post Malone, I have a couple of his. So White Iverson and Go Flex. So it's kind of like those types of songs where it's like, chill, not too crazy, but it has a good beat to it.
Bryce, you talk about going to record sections in stores. When I was high school, college, you had whole record stores. Like it was a specific store just for music.
Well, you have
like
those
we would
still,
go hang out with friends.
Not like you had them in the mall. You had them all over the place.
Yeah, like we would go to, do you remember Virgin Records in New Orleans?
Yes.
It's like this huge, store. And I think actually DJ Khaled used to work there. And we would go there and like hang out with friends. Like that's what you did.
Yeah, and you could listen to samples of songs too.
Yeah.
Because that was, you go to buy an album, if you hadn't heard it on the radio, you didn't know the other songs on the album.
If you liked it.
Yeah.
Which I guess, like, does Barnes & Noble still have, like, a section? Remember how they used to have, like, a CD section?
Well, right, because...
where you could listen?
I don't know if they have the listening thing, but because records started coming back, a lot of places started selling them again. I'm sure not to the extent that it was. But...
Yes.
Oh, no, because you would have rows and rows.
Oh, yeah, you'd have cassettes, CDs, records, like, everything in one place. It was really cool.
Yeah.
R.I.P. to the record stores.
Yes, it was a fun place, and you would go in there to look at boys and stuff you do as a teenager.
Yeah, it was like such a vibe. Like, yeah, you would, I don't know. I just used to like when you would get excited about an album and you want to go buy it or go see how much it is, and
Brenna still does that when Tay Tay comes out with one.
Well, when Tay Tay has it, of course. Yeah. Brenna owns all of them. She probably has a record CD. I don't know if she has cassettes. But...
She does not have. Do they even make cassettes?
So
yeah, you can get them. You can find
are
them.
Making a bit of a comeback.
They are.
I think
it's like vintage nostalgia.
Yeah, I think it's a really
Anybody
small
who has
thing,
to rewind a cassette.
Right, yeah. I don't get
y'all
why,
don't know the...
but I've seen them
y'all don't know the pain of... Y'all don't know the pain of sticking a pencil in there and like having to rewind your tape back in.
That's how you would
get
it back in, wind it back in.
Well, it's also bad media for storage. It degrades over time. Like the reason people started going back to vinyls is because they're high quality and that you can preserve them for a long time. And like cassettes are, I don't know, but I've seen artists start to sell them again. Like Bandcamp has some cassettes. Radiohead just put out like a 20th anniversary edition of 2 of their old albums, and they're selling a cassette version of it. So they're making a small comeback.
It's like a whole thing now.
Let's bring back the 8 tracks.
8 tracks, yes. I'm here for it.
I had the soundtrack to Grease. I got it from an 8-track player, and I remember that particular cassette for my birthday, like my 8th birthday or something.
Wait, okay, I remember getting, this was around the time where we would go to the pool at the base.
Oh, yes.
Okay, and I got like a sport Walkman.
Oh, the Walkmans. Oh, when that revolutionized music when those came out, because you can have music anywhere.
And let me tell you how cool I thought I was when I was like, what was I, like 12, 11, 10, okay? Going to this huge pool at the base, and listening to my little headphones on my little sport Walkman. And I thought I was, cool, real cool. So, but anyway, I had the whole image in my head of, listening to my music and being at the pool. It was fun.
Really, the portable music ability to have music anywhere has changed everything too with music. Because before you went for a run, you couldn't listen to music unless you had a little bitty radio.
You actually had to be cognizant of your surrounding environment.
Yeah. And the Walkman, I got my first Walkman, I think I was a freshman in college. And I would put, it was a cassette Walkman. And I would put that on. And I might have been in high school when I got that. I just remember walking around LSU with, when I had a long walk between classes and listening to music.
You know what? Yes. You know what I think they need? A Walkman, but for vinyl.
It'd be like
8 tracks.
Like the cell phones from the 80s.
Yes.
Or the portable phones.
So, but now music is so much more accessible. So I do agree with that it's everybody, well, not everybody, but lots of people have smartphones that they can store music to, or stream music. So that's awesome. And like I said, the only downfall of that for me is when I'm on airplanes and my phone has to be in airplane mode and I can't stream because I'm not paying for Wi-Fi on a flight. Like we all know that. So I need to have downloadable music.
Well, and
y'all realize how cheap I am?
I guess too with the hurricanes that have hit, when you lose electricity in that.
Yes.
And, your internet's down.
Well, we just experienced that with Ida, and so our electricity was down for 5 days, which I know a lot of people had it. I mean, some people still don't have electricity, and it's almost 3 weeks out in some of the places that were harder hit. But for those 5 days, you're trying to conserve your phone battery because, when you get someplace where you can plug it in, like you said, everybody's trying to charge their phone. So you had to conserve your phone battery, but then you're sitting here bored to death because you have no electricity, nothing. So it was rough. It was very rough. And I only had 5 days. So I can imagine these poor people. But funny that we just experienced that. And people think like, oh, you can do everything on your phone. Well, communication went down. Wi-Fi went down. You couldn't do anything on your phone except, check in with family and friends. So that's the downfall of it.
Speaking of portable music, though, my entry into that was iPods or like MP3 players.
Yes,
oh, yes, those
we
really
totally skipped
things.
over that. Yes, I'm glad you brought that up. So, did you have one?
Yeah, they had so much more storage, so you always had like a ton on you.
Yes.
You weren't just limited to like what cassettes or CDs once the portable CD players started coming out, like whether those you owned and what you could like carry with you. So You could always, like,
Yes.
just have a ton with you at all times.
The size of them was so much smaller, too.
Yeah, you remember those tiny little ones? Those the iPod Shuffle?
Yes.
Or
The
something?
little tiny square ones.
Yeah. I never had one, but I had like a regular iPod, and it was really cool.
What year did those come out, Bryce? Do you know?
I can look it up.
I want to...
The first
I wanna
version
say
were
it was
released
circa,
in
like...
2001.
Wow, it's been that
I was
long.
going to say 2002, yeah, because I remember in college, I worked for this company in Baton Rouge, and for our Christmas gift, they gave us all iPods, and we thought it was like the coolest thing.
It was. I remember,
funny.
and I didn't get the iPod brand the first time I got one. I think I got some cheap off one, but I remember being able to, I was exercising then and thinking, this is so cool because I don't have to listen to the same thing.
Yes. Oh, I thought it was awesome. Like you said, with walking around college campus, like I had my little iPod, you know? I thought that was just so cool. Like when you go to the beach, you got your little headphones, and yeah, I kind of miss those days because my phone like runs out of battery so fast now. And so when I'm trying to listen to music, it just runs it out.
That's true. The batteries did last a long time on those.
You could buy a new MP3 player if you wanted. I don't think they make iPods anymore, but you can find MP3 players still.
Do you think I'm going to pay for that?
But
come
a
on.
little bit. If it was something you used a lot while you were mobile, moving, whatever.
Yes.
The size is so much more conducive to that
It's
than a
the
phone.
size. Yeah. But it's like now your phone doesn't leave your side, so.
I don't know. Do you think people take phone?
Yeah.
If you go for a run, would you take a phone with you?
I did when I was running. I don't do it anymore. But yeah, I would take a phone with me. But a lot of people have Apple Watches and stuff now, or smart watches.
Yeah, that's true.
So they don't take their phones. But I always did, just being a female running by myself. I always had my phone with me just in case I needed it.
Yeah, that's true.
And to listen to music.
I do think now probably most people listen to music through their phone, through whatever app or, YouTube, Spotify. Does anybody use, what was the other one that was so common? Pandora anymore? I don't hear the kids talking about that.
Yeah, I think it died down a lot.
Travis uses it.
I used to listen to internet radio stuff quite a bit, but once Spotify and YouTube really started solidifying, I think it died down a bit.
The kids at school, I hear them talk about YouTube and Spotify, and then TikTok.
Yeah.
Oh, Apple Music and...
What about SoundCloud?
SoundCloud was really big for underground music, I think 10 years ago, but I don't know if it's still used very often.
I don't hear it. I never hear about it anymore. I was wondering if that was still a thing. Interesting.
And I think most of the time with Bluetooth in their car, they're going through their phone.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. I definitely can see that, but I listen on my phone when I'm at the gym, when I'm in, on the airplane, when I'm doing whatever. It's just my phone now. But if I'm in my car, I do listen to the radio. So, I don't know. I try to keep up with radio play. I don't know. I think the whole music industry is very interesting how it's evolved. So, and one thing that I found interesting was so Drake just released a new album, and 9 out of the top 10 on the Billboard Top 100 were from his new album, which never would have happened before, but because they include streaming now, that's how he was able to do that. And that is crazy. 9 out of 10, the top 10 is from one album. You would never have that before because, for one, radios wouldn't play all the songs on your album,
all
or they
those
would
album tracks.
have timed releases.
Right.
Yeah. No. And so I thought that was kind of oh, that's really cool. This is the first time, for this to happen because of the way we get our music now.
Speaking of
I
that,
thought that was awesome.
We've kind of already touched on this, but how has the different mediums you've listened to, shaped how you listen to music? For me, I know, since I started out listening to music a lot on, iPods, my sort of default mode is either selecting a song, just picking one and listening to that, or just putting a huge list of them on shuffle. So I have a Spotify playlist with just a ton of songs on it that I just shuffle, and that's how I listen to Spotify.
Ah, yeah, that's a good point.
I either through Alexa request a particular song, but on Spotify I do shuffle on my playlist. And I have a couple different playlists, so depending on what I want to.
See, that's interesting because when
I have one general one, but then I have one for like when I'm trying to go to sleep, and I have one for out by the pool.
So I don't use playlists on Spotify. Like I'll just go put on, like I said, you know, if it's like an artist, I'll go look up just like Post Malone and put like, you know, I don't have a personal playlist. I'll just go find like other ones to stream. So it's just like general. I never know what's coming up on it. But when I'm trying to go to sleep or if I'm on the plane, like I said, I listen to my playlist that I create, but that's on treble. So I don't actually take the time to make playlists on Spotify.
But the only thing that bothers me about a playlist is I'll think of a song and I think I need to add that to my playlist, but I'm not, you know, able to do it at that moment, and then it never gets on there.
Well, I started like a notes on my phone. One time we were in the car for a long time. We would listen. We were like streaming. I think Travis had on Pandora. And anytime I would hear a song that would go in my chill low-key playlist, I would write it down in my notes app. So that's how I started it. But I really want somebody else to make me a bunch of different playlists because I have different moods I want different playlists for, but I don't want to take the time to do it. So I'm a lazy music fan. I want somebody else to do it for me.
You don't want me to do it for you. It won't be music.
I was gonna say, do either of y'all want that job? Like, I need next time I get a high school intern, I'm gonna make them do this for me.
I'll give you all 80s music.
Yeah.
I love the 80s.
I can do an 80s playlist for you.
I like to listen to all types of music. The only thing I don't really care for is country or like classic rock doesn't really do a whole lot for me, but I'll listen to it.
I can listen to some of the more current country. And I think streaming has helped introduce you to a lot of different genres too. Because you can go listen to a song here or there from a different genre without, you know, listening to a country radio station trying to find that song or whatever it is.
That's true. That's very true. They like intersperse it with other ones and it's like, okay, this is palatable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But talking about streaming, radio stations stream now too. So they laugh at me too because I'll tell Alexa to play a radio station.
Oh, that's true. I like the radio. I like the DJs, you know. Sometimes I don't.
Yeah. Well, I like the morning talk that goes on a radio sometimes. I find out little tidbits sometimes that, you know, just good information.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not just music.
That is true.
So,
yeah.
With, like, my example for, like, because of how I listen to iPods, that still influences how I listen to music now. Do you have any examples of that? Like, because you used to listen to cassettes, you do this now? Or is it all just, like, your carryovers radio?
I think my carryover is I can't stand listening to the same album all the way through.
That is your carryover. That's true.
I mean, it drives me crazy. By the third song, I'm like, I can't do this anymore.
I think I have the same habits of, you know, when I had my iPod too, where I just, for me, I would download the music, okay, have it on my iPod, and then just keep shuffling the same songs, you know? And I still do that, so that hasn't changed. But honestly, I think it's just me being lazy. Like, I like to hear new music. And what I really like to do is, so like I was just telling Travis that, oh, like Drake and Kanye both came out with new albums. Like I want to listen to them. Well, Travis he's not on any social media. Like he doesn't know any of like music news. So I always give him the news and then he like delves into it after that. So he'll be like, oh no, I like Kanye's better than Drake's. Or, you know, like he gets into it. And so he tells me all the news and like which songs I should listen to and stuff. So I kind of give him the little tidbit. He deep dives into it and comes back and tells me what to spend my time on. So it's like teamwork over here. So it's kind of fun. But ultimately, I think, you know, I was lazy with downloading music then. I'm still lazy doing it now. But I really enjoy listening to music and I really enjoy listening to new music. So it's probably something I should spend more of my time doing.
You would hate vinyl because you gotta, like, get up and like flip the disc over and put the needle back down, and then sometimes you have to change.
And if you want to skip
out.
a song, you got to pick the needle up, put it back down in the exact right place.
No, I mean, I remember records from like way back in the day, but I have personally never like had a record player. And I remember we talked about probably earlier this year. I talked with Bryce about like, should I do vinyl? And he's like, I don't think it's for you. So I think you're right. Like I don't think I would want to walk across the room.
I mean, as soon as we got to CDs, I never bought another vinyl album.
Right, but some people prefer that because they like having the the bit of difficulty to like, I don't know, I guess it makes the music more worth it. To me, it's just annoying.
Well, especially when you hit it, you accidentally hit it and scratch your record, and then you have to go buy a new one.
Oh no! So it's like the same with CDs, like when you scratch
because
CD.
the needle will scratch it if you hit it.
Oh yeah, I didn't know it ruined it though.
It'll jump when it hits every time it hits that scratch.
Oh my goodness, fun time.
But I will tell this story. We had Another One Bites the Dust, and the whole news came out that if you played it backwards, it said decide to smoke marijuana.
Yes.
And it is true. Yeah. It does sound like that because we played it backwards.
Really? That's funny.
The bad part was I was doing my brother's album and he got really mad about it.
He did? Oh my gosh. See, and this is like where stereos and record players and stuff, like stereos were a whole thing. And I think like Bryce, you missed that era, right?
Yeah.
Like stereos were like,
you spent a lot of money on a stereo system with good speakers
and CD towers and like everything. It was a whole thing. I remember like being at my friend Lendl's house when we were little. I'm talking about like elementary school, and we would be messing with her brother's stereo, her older brother, and he'd be like,
"No, that's
don't touch my stereo."
Fighting words right there.
Yeah, you don't mess. Yeah, you don't mess with other people's stereos. But I remember that being an entire, like, people were obsessed with it.
Well, that's how you got music in your
funny.
home. I mean, you might have a little radio or something, but the sound quality was terrible.
Right.
So that is if you wanted good quality sound in your home, that's what you use.
I will say, like, sound quality is something that I am, even though I'm a lazy music listener, I am really big on sound quality. So like my car, I have like a Bose system. And again, my car is like really old, but the radio sounds good. And when I get into other people's cars and they have like terrible speakers, it's like I hate it. I can't stand it. So like that's going to be, I'm not really into cars, obviously. But like my next car has to have heated seats and a good speaker system. Like that's all I need.
How familiar with the are
Warm
you
button,
with the
good
different
tunes.
Quality of audio files?
I'm not real familiar. I just like I want to have speakers that sound good when I'm listening to music, but I'm not good at like all the technical
that's
aspects.
A whole world
no, I don't
there.
know.
Like a lot of people only like streaming on certain like specialty services because they offer higher quality files to stream through.
Yeah, no, I don't care about that. I mean, I used to download from Napster, and you never knew what you were getting on there.
That's true. So, you did not know what you were, and some were really good. Don't get me wrong, but some.
Wait, so funny story. When Travis and I first started dating, so I think I just graduated from college when we started dating, and I had like this old CD. Oh, it was newer. I mean, I had just made it, but it was downloaded music, and I don't know how I did it because I think Napster was like, illegal by then, but I downloaded it some kind of way. Well, this one song had a beep through it. So like, I'm sure I talked about this before on the podcast, but it has, you're listening to it and it would go beep, like through like part of the song. And Travis would be like, what is that beat? Like, what is that about? And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't hear it. I don't know what you're saying. And he's like, you really don't hear. I listened to the song. Like, I got so used to bad quality that like, I just listened past it. It was hilarious. I'm like, this is really bad. Like, I don't even hear a huge beep through the song.
Talking about quality, and I think it was you, Bryce, but it was one of you kids. When we would listen to the radio and it was staticky, your dad and I always wanted to change it because that drove us nuts because we lived like that, listening to music. If you didn't get it wasn't a clear day, it was going to be staticky. And
yeah, I think
the kids would argue, don't change it, we like the song.
Yeah,
Like,
the
I can't
static
take
never
it.
bothered me, I guess because I just
Had to
didn't
be
hear
you,
it very
yeah.
often.
That's really funny though. But I am a snob when it comes to the quality of the speakers. And in fact, Travis just wanted to get a speaker for the backyard. He wanted to have like a good speaker. And I was like, are you crazy? Like, we're not spending this much money on a speaker. So we went to the music store, okay? And he like played 2 different speakers. And he's like, do you hear the difference in the quality? And I was like, okay, spend the money. Like, I was like, you're right.
I don't know that quality is as important to me just because of my hearing loss. I have to be able to hear it.
Yeah.
So volume sometimes is more important.
I'm quality, like all the way.
Well,
but
it doesn't matter
again,
how good of quality it is if it's not loud enough for me to hear.
That's true. That's true. Well, when you have a good quality speaker, you can feel it. So that'll help with your hearing loss. You can feel the beat.
You can feel the beat if it's loud enough.
That's true.
I've never cared
That's
about
true.
quality, so
Fun times.
it just never bothered
I do
me.
somewhat, but I don't think. We had one of our vehicles. I think the speaker was blown when we bought it, and I didn't realize it until it was too late to do something about it. And I hated that car because it was hard for me to hear. I couldn't hear the lyrics.
Yes, Travis's old truck. He just got a new car finally at the end of last year, but he had this truck forever, and it was like a salvage vehicle, so it was a trusty old thing. But the speakers were terrible, and the truck was so loud, like in the inside, there wasn't a good muffling of sound.
That's why I won't drive your dad's car.
Yes, it's so you couldn't hear the radio at all. I'm just like, oh, I hate it. I think that's what made me get on the quality kick, but before that, downloading songs, you never know what you're getting, so but that's why I like Treble, you can get good
After
music.
Napster, there were several that popped up. And then LimeWire, but there were several things that popped up here and there and would stay up for.
Oh yeah. When one would be, deemed illegal and shut down, we would just go to the next one.
Yeah.
So it was like,
And then once YouTube came
which
up,
I think is
a lot of people got it from YouTube.
Exactly. But I think that's interesting that, I am a big music fan. I listen to it, every day, but yet I don't want to spend money on it, and I'm okay with piracy. I don't know. It doesn't really. You would think I'd want to support the artists more.
I did buy some off of iTunes when iTunes first really got big. I did.
So is iTunes still a thing? Like, do people?
I believe so. Yeah.
Kids, do they mess
I don't
with
know
iTunes?
if people. I think it might have just been like superseded by Apple Music.
Okay.
I'm not familiar though.
And that's the same thing.
Your sister asked for iTunes gift card. Could that be something with gaming though?
Probably, yeah.
For Christmas, that's on her list. But iTunes now, especially when the iPods got so big, that was probably monetarily for the artist one of the best things that has come around, because a lot of people were purchasing on iTunes.
That's true. Well, I would, like, if I got a gift card, I would purchase, but otherwise I would be downloading music and putting it into my iTunes, which not all of it would
a lot
work,
of people didn't know how to do that.
But yeah, I don't know how I did.
All right, I'll close this out then.
All right.
Well, that's been our podcast about music again. Talk about music a lot. So yeah. Bye.
All right. Well, bye. Thanks for joining us, Cal. I liked it though. It was good.